Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy, the Doc here, Dr. Collectible, and you're tuned into Hobby Talk. And to have my first guest come in, he go by the name of Geoff Wilson. You're talking about the owner of, you know, Sports Card Investor, Cars HQ, one of the biggest car shops in the country, and Market Movers. But before we get into this episode, I want to give a special shout out to our sponsor, Pristine Auctions, one of the biggest auction companies in the hobby when it comes to sports cards, memorabilia, jerseys, helmets. I'm telling you, they got it. And if you're looking to register today, you can go on pristineauctions.com and you can utilize Hobby Talk to get $10 off your first purchase today. What's going on, everyone? It's your boy, Dr. Collectible here, and this is Hobby Talk. And I am with a very important individual today that's done a lot, not only for the hobby, but as an entrepreneur and helped build himself and his platform. I want to say, appreciate you, Geoff Wilson, for hopping on. Thank you.
Yeah, Doc, happy to be here with you, man. And thank you for what you do for the hobby. You put a lot of great content out, cover events all over the country, have done a lot with kids. It's been exciting to watch your growth in the hobby.
Nah, thank you. For the people that don't know, you gave me my first opportunity at a trade night at the first Coach Collision show. Ended up winning a contest and got to see you, Lamar Odom, Card Collector 2. So many cool individuals that I've been around for so many years now, Slab Strong. So I want to say, I appreciate you for what you have done for even for me. My father watched your content. I watch your content. So yeah, definitely, man, you appreciate it for what you do and bringing new people to the hobby, but as well as getting people to stick. That's my main thing. That's what it was for me. So I want to get into the first thing. Did a little bit of research about you, and could you tell me about the time when you was in Sarasota, I believe, Florida, at the age of 14, and you was working at your first job, which was at a car shop.
Yeah, I was so excited for that. When I turned 14 was the age in Florida where kids were allowed to, officially take a job somewhere, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so for my 14th birthday, I wanted my mom to drive me around to local card shops so I could put my application in because I was card crazy back then as a kid. And so we did, and I got a job at a small card shop in Sarasota. Unfortunately, it didn't last long. My
Yeah.
I wasn't the most attentive employee at 14 years old, but that's another story. But it was cool to be able to get land a job at a sports card shop, and it's kind of ironic that 30 years later I opened up my own sports card shop, so I kind of created my
Yes.
own job at a sports card shop once again, and hopefully this time around will go better than the first.
Ah, man. I'm first off, Cars HQ, what you have going on. There's not a place that I've been to where they're asking me, "Have you been to Cars HQ yet? Have you been there yet? Have you been there?" Because it's really in my backyard. Atlanta um, shop is beautiful. I consider it the Disney World of sports cards. It's just one of them places that you have to visit if you're in the sports card world. So what you're bringing to us in a hobby is definitely appreciated. I do want to get into sports card investor. So with sports card investor, what was the trigger point for you? What was the spark when you said, "I think I'm gonna move this direction. I want to start a sports card investor and get this thing rolling when it comes to the hobby and creating content."
It came out of a personal desire for the type of content that we create because it didn't really exist back in 2019. So I got back into
Mhm.
cards in 2018. And in 2019, I was getting crazy about cards again. And I wanted to learn more and I wanted to understand about the price of cards. And I was looking at it from kind of a business standpoint, an investment standpoint, flipping, all that type of thing, as well as collecting. And I'm
Right.
like, how do I know how much my cards are worth? how do I know what cards are hot in the market right now? How do I know what's going up and down and how much things are going up and down and what cards are selling more than other cards? And that data didn't exist in 2019. And so
Right.
I was going to YouTube and I was going to podcasts and I was trying to find anybody out there who was talking about those types of things. There's really nobody at all on YouTube. I did find the Breaker Culture podcast where
Mm-hmm.
Ty, who's now chasing cardboard,
Mm-hmm.
he would talk a little bit every few episodes about like what cars were going up and down in price. But outside of that, there was very little content like that. And so I basically said, you know what? I'm going to create my own because this is content that I would want to hear. And if
Mm-hmm.
I would want to hear it, I think there's probably other people out there that would want to hear it as well. And the same thing was true with when I started Market Movers. You know, I needed a product to track the value of my collection, to tell me what cards were going up and down, to tell me, you know, whether a card would be a good deal or bad deal if I bought it, you know, depending on the price history, which, you know, versus what someone's selling it for. Once again, there was nothing out there. So I'm like, you know what? If no one else has done it, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to create my own product that does all these types of things. And when that launched at the beginning of 2020, it was the first of its kind. Now there's some other products that do similar things, but it was revolutionary at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's it, man. That just, you know, saw an opportunity based on a personal need and built the thing that I kind of wanted myself.
And I gotta congratulate you on how far you came. A lot of people are not consistent enough to come with an idea and say, "Hey, I'm gonna stick with this." And now to look at where you are, you're leading the hobby with content. Um, I've learned so much through you, through hobby content, even myself, getting myself comfortable with the hobby and trying to learn the trends, the ups and downs, what Sports Card Investor has done for me, what Market Movers has done for me. It's came a long way. So I'm actually happy that you've been able to stand the tales of time this past couple of years and continue to keep growing these platforms that you built. But not only that, take it for as innovation wise. Now, when we're talking about innovation, you're talking about one of the most beautiful car shops I've seen in the country. Can you let us know about Cars HQ and to the ones that don't know about Cars HQ right now? What would you tell them about the experience and what it is for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we opened up Cards HQ here in Atlanta, pretty close to the Atlanta Braves Stadium. We opened it up February 1st was our official opening date. And when we built this store, you just used the word experience. When we built the store, that's really what we wanted to create. We wanted it to be more of an experience, not just transactional. A lot of card shops, you walk in, you buy a box, you leave. We wanted this to be more of an experience. And so we built things in the store design to help make it that way. And, you know, first of all, the store is very big. And part of the reason why we made it so big is because we wanted space to be able to do events, to do trade nights, to have people be able to, you know, hang out on a Saturday and set up their cards and trade with other people, or have space for people to rip boxes, or have space even just for parents to sit around and hang out while their kids are you know, off doing deals and that kind of stuff, or buying cards in the card shop. So
Right.
we wanted a big spot, we wanted the space, and then from there we wanted to build in elements to the store that made it feel more like an experience. So one thing we added was a featured breaking table, which is a, you know, we call it it's a breaking arena is what we call it, and
Yes.
it's like a really cool looking, you know, poker like table that's streaming live on YouTube, and anyone who comes into the store who buys any box of any type, even a blaster box, can sit down at that table and rip their cards. They're live on YouTube. There's some bleachers for any audience who wants to watch them. And on Saturdays, you'll see like, you know, there will be just people, random people just kind of sitting in the stands wanting to watch what people are opening. And then people will come over there with their boxes and rip them open. And it's just a fun experience. We've also done things like put our breaking and live selling studios right along the edge of the show floor. They're open to the show
Yes.
floor. We call them breaking cabanas. And
Hmm.
the idea there was that when you're in the store, there might be a couple of breaks going on, and you can, kind of watch what's happening, and you can walk over and see what the people are breaking or see what the people are selling. Again, it makes it a little bit more of an experience than just having like a breaker studio in a back room somewhere that nobody in the shop can actually see. So trying to bring elements like that together, that was really the vision, and making it, a state of the art modern card shop that people really want to spend time in and have a great experience when they do.
And that's what I've gotten from being there, from my multiple times of being there. I personally feel like the breaking area is like almost like you're taking on ESPN or something like that, of sports cars, where you can actually see yourself live, the different camera angles that you have going on. Not only that, having an audience is almost like, it reminds me of the show First Take on ESPN. When it comes to a breaker and they have a live audience when it's Super Bowl week, or when it's like All Star Weekend or something like that, of that nature. So I like that experience that you brought, because not only you become a fan of the hobby, but it's like you become like a true audience member almost, of a sense. The breakers now, I hate to say, are like the stars in the hobby now. They are the ones that are pulling the heat. They're the ones that are creating that atmosphere at home, to the individuals that are not going out to the car shows, that might not have a chance to go to the national, and spend money on cars or things of that nature. So for that experience, and also it's 24/7, right? If I'm not mistaken, 24/7 break.
That's where we're trying to get to. Yeah, we're not there yet, but the idea is
Hmm.
to have over time to be able to have, stuff going on all the time. Yeah, 24/7 of the live selling and breaking.
Yeah, that right there is incredible, man. I can't do nothing but give you kudos to that, and what you have built when it comes to Cars HQ. All right, guys. So this right here is my pristine auction item of the week. We have the Redeem Team jersey signed by all 12 players from that team, JSA certified. You got guys like Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Jason Kidd, even Carmelo Anthony that have signed this jersey. So if you're looking at a piece of USA history, and we all know Team USA just recently took over the basketball world at the Olympics, this is your chance to get a part of that. So make sure you check out Pristine Auctions and look into this item now. Now, going on to you as an individual that's in the hobby, as a collector, investor, and a person that wears many hats. For you as a collector, what's the biggest thing for you when it comes to collecting cars? Is it the not the acknowledgement or the knowledge of cards, or the relationships with people that have the cards? Which is something that you think you would maybe cherish most when it comes as a collector, to be able to know the individuals that have the cards that you may want, and gaining them relationships and knowing that cards are always going to circulate? Or is it having just that knowledge of cards, having that gut feeling of knowing trends and things of that nature? Or you think just both just mix?
I mean, the cool thing about the hobby is there's so many different ways to do the hobby, right? Like the hobby
Yeah.
community is awesome, and there's so many great collectors. And when you go to these shows, and I know Doc, you go to a lot of these card shows all over the country, and you to get to meet other collectors, to get to be part of trade nights, to get to just hang out at the bar afterwards and get to meet, different interesting collectors, and hear their stories or see their collections. It's super
Yeah.
cool, and there's a lot of really there's a lot of great people in the community. So the community is definitely a big piece of it for sure.
Hmm.
But you can kind of hobby however you want to hobby, right? Like if you love going to card shows, then that's wonderful. If you like just sitting at home and sniping cards on eBay, then that's great as well. If you like displaying your cards and you really take a lot of pride in how you're showing your cards off, that's great. if you keep all of your cards in a vault because they're investment pieces and you want that type of security, then that's fine as well, right? If you
Yeah.
are the type of person that likes to go after a grail card and then hold that card and sit on that card for the rest of your life, then that's great. Or if you're the type of person that's in it for the action and you want to get a card and then flip it a month later and get another, then that's fine as well, right? Like there's all kinds of different ways you can approach it. None
Hmm.
are right, none are wrong. Um,
Right.
and I think a lot of people have a little bit of a lot of those pieces, kind of inside their approach. I do. Like I buy
Hmm.
certain cards that I'm like I'm holding on to this forever, and other cards I'm like I'm buying this because I'm going to try to flip it in a couple of months. And I think there's so many ways to do it, and that's one of the cool things about the hobby is that there's no right approach, there's no wrong approach. Even the types of cards that people want to collect. I mean,
Hmm.
you got obviously not only the different sports, but you got so many different eras. And it's so interesting. I'll meet high-end collectors that have
Hmm.
multi-million dollar collections, and they're only of, quarterbacks or point guards from the last 5 years. And then I'll meet other collectors who have millions of dollars of collections, and they're only of pre-war baseball cards, from 1909. And so like it's there's such a diversity in how people can choose to collect and what eras and what sports. It's fascinating, and so I think for that reason, there's so many different ways for people to kind of approach it and find their niche in it, and it's one of the things that makes it wonderful.
That's I'm gonna be honest. That was a great answer for anyone that's looking to get into this hobby. There are so many different ways of being able to be led in so many different paths. Like you said, like I said, I personally took content creating as a path. Other people might look in like you say, just collecting cards, flipping cards, which I consider investing because when you're talking about putting your money to the side and investing into a car, no matter whether if it's $1 million car, $500,000, or a $2 car that's being bought by a kid, there's still an investment somehow, and not knowing that that car may triple, double, quadruple in worth. So I love how you explain that, and for the new individuals that are just coming into this hobby, um, for me, watching your content was, I want to say, the spark moment for me. And what I mean by that is, the spark is how you put out content, and it's not that the content just goes by or somebody checks it out one time and that's it. You have found out the way to get people to stick. What I mean by that is people pushing the follow button, people pushing the subscriptions, going for any way they can. What I call is a cult following, being to have a lot of people be able to look and be inspired by your work. That's how I was when I first seen your content. And I must say it stuck to me, but also I became a fan and I was able to stick and continue to keep watching and watch the growth. So I think for you and what you're bringing to the audience, and for the people that's coming in, I feel like you just need to continue to stay that route because that's nothing but anything that you've been giving me and to the hobby. And I'm hoping moving forward you continue to stay on that road of just giving us great content. I gotta ask, when I've seen a few videos and content wise of you doing deals, is there a specific deal that you have done, or is there like this card that you was like, yo, this is my holy grail right here? I know I've seen like the LeBron
Mhm.
draft day. I know, I believe in the past you had like a Trey Young and Luca
Yeah. Yep.
auto, if
Yep.
I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, that's like in the old footage right there. Like, I want to know for you right now, is it a card that just stick out to you like, yo, this is my holy grail right here. I'm happy with it. Or like I want to know what's that number one card for you right
That's a tough question to answer. I used to own
now.
I used to own some Ben and Jerry's ice cream stores, and people would always ask me, "What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?" And I was always like, "How could I have one favorite flavor of ice cream? There's like 32 awesome ice cream flavors in my store. Like, I can't have one
Yeah.
favorite. Like, I like so many of them. So, I kind of feel that way with cards. Like, yeah, I've
Hmm.
got some of the ones you mentioned are like absolutely some of my favorites. Like, I've got a whole bunch of, early LeBron cards, gold refractors,
Yes.
2002, 2003, 2004, gold refractors of LeBron. I love those cards. They're definitely towards the very top. That I love
Yes.
that Luca, Trey Young, dual auto rookie card, just
Hmm.
because that's symbolic of when I got involved in the hobby. It was that
Yeah.
year when I got back involved when Luca and Trey were rookies and everyone was going crazy about their cards. So that's a cool one. I've got a Zion rookie card that's a Prism Gold Vinyl out of 5 that I pulled with my son Reeves, and we pulled it out of a box. And so like that's a cool one. Like that's a cool memory. So there's a lot ones that I bought at the National over the years and everything like that. It's hard to pick one that's my favorite. I certainly have
I
like maybe
know.
a top 20
I
or
tried
something,
it.
but there's so many of them that I like. It's hard to say for sure.
No, I agree. It same for me as well. I love Kobe cards.
Hmm.
Kobe is a big thing for me. I'm all about that Mamba mentality, that drive, that every day I want to get up and do content, talk about the hobby, and do it in a positive way. And I think for you, you do the same thing. You continue to keep a positive aspect on anything that's going on in the hobby, because once again, when I looked at your content, you made me stick to the hobby. Which means, if what if I got your content for the first time and it was a bad experience? I probably would have been one of them guys like, you know what, maybe this is not for me by just looking at your content. So I definitely want to say, for what you're doing, you or like I say, pushing the envelope to continue to push good vibes in the hobby and through your card collecting. I do want to ask another question, which I think is very interesting. Are you collecting anything outside of cars? You got music, you got sneakers, comic books, video games. I mean, even stones, stuff like
Yeah.
that, coins. Or are you into anything else besides cars? I see you with the sneakers every now and then. Look, I might catch you with some custom sneakers as well.
Yeah.
So, what's your thing?
I appreciate sneakers. I don't really collect sneakers. Like I don't buy sneakers to hold on to. Although I do have a pair of Chunky Dunkies.
Chucky Ducky.
I had to have those because that was the Ben and Jerry's crossover with
Ben and
Nike. So
Jerry's.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But no, I've started collecting some memorabilia. So I've got some like game used jerseys. I've gotten a little bit
Hmm.
more into that. I've got some tickets. A little bit of tickets. I've got a ticket to here in Atlanta. One that I got that I thought was pretty special was it was a ticket to the game when Hank Aaron broke the all-time home run record here in Atlanta when
Mm.
he hit
Wow.
the home run to pass Babe Ruth's record. So that was a pretty cool one. So I've got that
That's
ticket.
major.
But I haven't gotten too into collecting stuff outside of cards just because I mean, as you know, Doc, like
Mhm.
collecting anything, like you can get so deep with it and then just want to buy so much. And I'm already that way with cards. And so I'm like, man, if I let myself get totally into
Oh,
jerseys or shoes or Funko Pops or whatever, I'm gonna end up going crazy with it and
yeah.
buy, 1,000 things. And you know, I can only handle so much. So cards are kind of remaining my number one. But I do dabble a little bit in a few of those other areas.
No, I rocks with that. Thanks for letting me know. I was very interested. I know lately I've been collecting, I believe they call it animation sales.
Okay, cool.
Um, yeah, they are like the official drawings from
Yeah.
different scenes of cartoons. So That's something I've been collecting when I've been going to the collecticons, things of that nature. You, I want to say you definitely made an uproar, man. We're on the Pokemon world, but it seems like they starting to love you, man. I seen that you had. What was it that your first collecticon last year, if I'm not mistaken?
I went to CollectCon last year. Yeah, we had a lot of fun there. Yeah, I had commented on Lorcana and the fact that I thought Lorcana could eventually become bigger than Pokemon. People didn't like it. I will say Lorcana's off to a pretty good start. It's obviously it's nowhere
Right.
near where Pokemon is by any means, but it's done well. People like Lorcana so far, so I am excited to see where that goes and how that evolves over time. But the Pokemon community is great. There's a lot of certainly spirit in the trading card game community, and when you go to their shows, it's a little bit of a different vibe and feel. I honestly wish the sports card community had a little bit more of the
Hmm.
kind of energy that some of the trading card games shows have. I wish a little more of that came over to sports cards. And it might with Fanatics Fest. Like I'm thinking Fanatics Fest might be a little bit more of that, like a little more
Right.
like music and vibe and have a little bit more of a cool factor to it. So we'll see how that plays out. But in general, yeah, the trading card community is great.
Nah, I agree. I had a friend. Um, he said, "Man," he was like, and it's nothing bad, but he was like, "Man," he was like, I left trading cards to go to Pokemon." And I was like, "Wow, why you say that?" He was like, "Cause it's so aggressive." And I'm like, "Well, it's sports. It's competitive. This is what it is. You got guys fighting to get some of the best cards that are in the hobby." So I even had a friend say, "Yeah, man, it's just more kid friendly, or you can go out to a collecticon and wear a Pikachu outfit and not be shamed at." I know for me personally, my first year going to a car show, which was Culture Collision, I came with a doctor's jacket and people looked at me like I was crazy, but it was a sense of getting people attention. I
Mhm.
wanted it was okay. I know I can wear this at a collecticon and feel normal, feel like a character, but coming to a sports card event and bringing that collecticon feel, that's just something different. So they do have two different aspects, and I do wish that energy. Once again, I've been a fan of Charizard my whole
Yeah.
life, Pikachu my whole life. So I hope that transition into sports where people just become fans of sports by the continuance of their life. So I do agree with you. I hope they bring that to the sports car world. Now, last but not least, I wanted to ask you something just for us with you. What would you what would you tell your younger self or a younger individual um, that may look up to you, that may see your content? What would you tell your younger self or a younger individual? This is what the hobby is, and enjoy it. Like, what's your best advice for someone that's new, young, old, adult, whatever it is? What's the best advice, or what is the advice that you would give yourself? I'm interested to know that.
I'd say a couple things. I'd say first of all, don't don't get caught up in FOMO. That happens to a lot of people. It's, a card's going up, everybody's got to buy it. A card becomes
Hmm.
popular, everybody's got to buy it. I've gotten caught up in that myself. I bought cards that were at the peak because I had FOMO. I'm like, I gotta buy it now. And then end up a lot of times that ends up being a bad decision. That's not the right way to do it. So don't get caught up in FOMO. Be patient. There's opportunities for cards to come back around, and there may be a card you really want, and maybe it's available, but maybe the deal's not right. And if the deal's not right, then just pass on the deal and just wait, and eventually you'll probably find the card again. And the timing may be better, and the deal may be better, and the whole thing. So don't get caught up in FOMO for sure. And then the other thing I'd say is just go out and experience it, right? Like I think the more You can go to card shows, go to the National if you can. Just experience it. Go to card shops. The hobby is very much a something that like touching it and feeling it is it's just great, and being able to go, to card shows and trade nights and card shops and all that kind of thing, and just be able to experience the hobby in person like that. I just think it creates a really strong experience. So I just encourage people to take advantage of that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that because we don't know who may come across this adult, teenager, child, whoever it is. Appreciate that advice because I feel like that's something that I needed to hear a few years back as well when I was first starting to really put my feet in the ground into this hobby. So everything that you do when it comes to sports card investor, market movers, Cars HQ, and so many other your ventures as a businessman, entrepreneur, everything that you do, man. We appreciate it. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you even hopping on the platform of Hobby Talk and being to express yourself in many ways. And I'm hoping a lot of individuals learn a little bit more deeper about you, just far as you as a person, you as a collector, but as well as an investor, and just giving your time. So, y'all, I appreciate everything and your time as well of coming on today.
Awesome, Daryl. Well, man, appreciate you doing the show, and thank you for having me on it.
Nah, thank you, man. And once again, everyone, make sure you go reach out to Geoff Wilson. He also has social media, the app Sports Card Investor, Market Movers. Check out Cards HQ. Go check out his content. Is there anything particular you would like to say last far as where people can reach out to you? Do you have anything going on with opportunities? Any last things that you want to leave off to the people?
Yeah, if they can come to a Cards HQ trade night, it's a lot of fun, and we also now stream them live on our YouTube channel. So if you can't make it to one in person, check out the stream. It's the second Saturday of every month here at Cards HQ in Atlanta and on the Sports Card Investor YouTube.
Hey, you heard it here, guys. Appreciate you, Geoff Wilson, for hopping on. And everyone that tuned in, thank you. I hope y'all enjoy today's show. Y'all have a good one.
Everyone, appreciate y'all tuning in to this week of Hobby Talk. Great episode. And if you haven't yet, check out Pristine Auctions. You're talking about sports cards to memorabilia. They have it all for you. And guys, it's your boy the Doc, and I'm out.